Anyway, there you have it. Those are our 12 picks. We ended up with some pretty good ones in there. Velarde, Lind, Krivicic, Olsen, Cale Fleury. I'm very excited with how that went, and now we get to move on to the re-sign phase with so much cap space that it's not even funny how much cap space we have right now. But let's get to it. The re-sign phase is here, and we have some work to do. By the way, I love this logo. What do you guys think of the logo? I just love the way it came out. Can't wait to play. I will be playing our first regular season home game, by the way. No doubt about that. I normally don't like playing those games, but we'll do it. Joonas Korpisalo, he is the man for us moving forward, and we will give him pretty much the contract that he wants. I won't go too much. I mean, should we go too much further in length? I mean, we have all the cap space in the fucking world. I could sign him to an 8-year deal for all I care. You know what? Let's sign him. Let's sign him for 4 years, and I'm gonna go 4.5 mil. And I feel like that's fair. You know, I'm not gonna throw too much money around, but I feel like that's fair. We'll know exactly how good of a goalie he is because he'll be 27, and we'll see if he accepts. Chad Johnson, of course, we acquired from Buffalo as a throwaway. Elvis Merzlikins and Anton Forsberg. Those are interesting as to whether or not I want to re-sign them. They don't have much trade value anymore, and the fact that they're low fringe, I think I'm going to let them go. I think I am. I think I'm going to let them go, and we'll see what's happening on the free agent market, which that could come back to bite me in the ass because, of course, we are limited to just who exactly we can sign in free agency. So that might come back to bite me in the ass. But you know what? I mean, I think we'll be okay. Hampus Lindholm needs his first contract with us. He is looking for 5.1. We will try 4.9. 4 years is fine. Again, that'll bring him up until he is 27. Scott Harrington. Again, this might bite us in the ass, but I'm going to let go of him, and we'll see who else we can get. Stewart is on his way out. Golubev is on his way out. And we'll see. I mean, I fully acknowledge these trades or these releases could absolutely bite me in the ass because of the brackets that we are allowed to sign free agents in. But I'm willing to take the risk right now just to make sure we get rid of some people who might not make it and who might not be worth having around. Now, the thing is, for most of our players here, Lind ended up being a 57. Ugh, that's low. It's going to take him a long time to progress. Most of the players we're getting rid of course, were just players that we signed anyway to bolster the Cleveland Monsters. William Karlsson needs a new deal, and that is exactly what I'll give him. If he's willing to take a two-way, that's fine. I was thinking he might be our starting left winger center on the third line, but if he's listed that low, I don't know if that will be a very good idea. I am intrigued to see the progression of a lot of our players. It scares me that Saad's down to an 85. The morale system seems to be taking a pretty big hit on a lot of our players. Let's see here. 5 years? 5 years for Wenberg? That'll bring him up till he's 27. I think I'm all right with that. We'll try 3.5 million for him. Kyle Chipchura can go. That's the one thing that sucks is, releasing some of these guys if they are friends with players on the team. That can cause morale issues. We have 23 contracts right now. That is absolutely absurd. And obviously we have a lot of work to do in the offseason to really bolster up our team. But Wenberg is back. Korpisalo is back. And a lot of those just god-awful contracts that we had to take on when we first got here is finally gone. And we can make the most of it and really move forward as we make the move to QC. Hampus Lindholm is here. William Karlsson is here. Wenberg is here. Korpisalo is here. And I believe that was it for our signings. So now we can move on to free agency, and we'll get to take a look at just how much damage we can do. Again, if anyone's 27 or older, they're not officially a prospect. I can sign whoever the hell I want. But if they're a prospect, that is where the brackets come into play. So let's take a look at who is available in free agency. TJ Oshie, Carl Alsner, Tatar are the big ones. And there are a couple of guys here. Even Tatar, he might... I wish he was a righty. Is TJ Oshie a righty? TJ Oshie's a righty. We might explore signing TJ Oshie. That might be a thing. I'm not sure, but that might be a thing. And as far as prospects go, true prospects, you have someone like Blake Spears, who we've had in the past, Anderson on defense. So we might be able to make the most of it. There aren't technically... Well, there are two. I mean, technically, Tatar and Johnson would be defined as elite prospects because their potential isn't locked in, but I don't think we'll be going for either of them. So here's the deal, guys. I have sent out 3 contract offers. We're not going to get involved with any of the big names because I do want to see how our prospects progress as we head into the preseason. So I'm going to take care of a lot of our signings at the beginning of the preseason. Now, our one prospect we are going after, he falls into the one signing, a top 6 forward, top 4 defenseman, or starting potential goalie. That is defenseman Rasmus Anderson. I think he is a perfect fit and will be great to have on Cleveland. So I am very glad that Calgary has let go of him. And then we have the goalies. It is going to be Jonas Enroth, hopefully, as the backup, and then Gustafsson as the starter in Cleveland with Oscar Dansk as the backup. So we will see if these 3 players accept these contract offers, and then we will fill out the rest of the team, which basically means the second half of the team once we get to the preseason. Gustafsson is here, Enroth is here, and Rasmus Anderson is here. So let's move forward to the start of the preseason, and now at that point we will get a better look at how this team is shaping up. So guys, I'm not sure if this is good, but the season ticket drive has ended. We have sold out 90% of every section, which means only 10% of the arena has to be filled, or at least in each section of the arena has to be filled by walk-ups. I feel like that's really fucking good, but I'm not sure. But I feel like that's really good. Now guys, before we get into what we're doing here, I do want to apologize. I haven't kept up with the trades and signings as much as I would have liked to. Trades mainly dating back to the draft and the trade deadline of last year. But quickly, I will scroll through so you can see the free agent signings. Some veteran players that I wouldn't expect to be signed have found teams, and I'm looking for any really big-time signings that teams might have. Mike Richards to Carolina. Isn't too bad. Jarrett Stoll went to Buffalo. Good for him to get a job. And it cuts off there. The only reason I started to look is that I saw that, as you can see by the first one, Ben Bishop has signed in Montreal. So if they still have Carey Price, holy shit. All right, guys, so here is the deal. The preseason, of course, has arrived, and I have prepared a ton of signings to complete this team. I'll give you guys a quick look. Everything is set up, ticket prices, all that. We're good to go. Now it's just a matter of whether or not we can sign everybody we are looking to sign. Starting with forwards, we're looking to get Sean Bergenheim and Yuri Tolusti in as permanent members of the roster. That would send Paul Bittner and Sonny Milano down to the AHL, although it's looking like Milano and Pierre-Luc Dubois are going to be battling it out for the 4th line center spot. Everybody else is just depth and Cleveland players, basically, is what I'm trying to say. Defense, again, we have some signings. Really, we're trying to get Dennis Weidman for the 3rd pairing right side spot. He would play with Nick Holden. Right now, we are having some issues with player morale. Nick Holden's down to an 80. We really need him to rebound. And I forget the other player. I think it's Lindholm that's really struggling with some of the players that we traded away, so we really need them to bounce back. Everybody else is depth. And goaltending, we're going to look to sign J.P. Anderson, former San Jose Sharks goalie, as a third stringer for the Cleveland Monsters. So let's move forward and see just how many of these players we can lock up. We did increase our concessions by 1, so we got some more funds, which is pretty good. That was an easy goal to complete. Sean Bergenheim is on this team, which is good, and I'm happy he accepted very, very quickly. Let's see who else. Patrick Brown, who was actually a depth guy for Cleveland. J.P. Anderson, the goalie. Albin Storm, who is a depth player, have all signed so far. Still waiting to hear from others. And Dennis Wideman declined, which is kind of a pain in the ass. Cody Golubev has re-signed with us. He was someone we sent an offer to. Justin Fontaine, former Minnesota Wild, is here. Josh Joris has signed. Chris Kelly has signed. And the reason why I'm talking like this is because I'm making check marks next to these guys' names as I write it down on a piece of paper so I can keep track. Don't let anybody fool you into thinking I don't think about these moves ahead before I actually do them. Yuri Tolusti is here. So we're still waiting for answers from David Moss, Reinhardt, and I believe that's it. It's just David Moss, and there's David Moss. Perfect. I thought we hit the end of that. There is Reinhardt, and that is it. So the only thing that we need to do now is get our hands hopefully on Dennis Wideman, and we'll give him a little bit more money. If not, it's going to have to be somebody else, which isn't the ideal situation. We do have $10 million in cap space. Is actually, and see, Alsner's not the right-handedness. I was going to go after Nino Niederreiter, by the way, but he is a restricted free agent. So Dennis Wideman, I'm going to bump up. I'm only trying to sign him for a year, and since we have $10 million available, I will try to sign him for $4.25 per, and we will look to get him in here as Holden's D partner, and hopefully that can really help Nick Holden rebound, because I really wanted him as a staple on that third pairing. He played pretty well with Dalton Prout last year, but we are waiting for Dennis Wideman signed before our first preseason game. Allow me to get the roster set so you guys can see the completed product. And guys, to wrap up this episode, it's time. Allow me to introduce you to the Quebec Nordiques. 91, 93, and 87 ratings down in Cleveland. They're 80, 83, and 77. We have 2 competitive teams on our hands, and I'm so pumped with this team. Top line, Brendan Saad now up to an 89. He has rebounded from some very negative moves. Bobrovsky, Dubinsky, Foligno, releasing Golubev, trading Jack Johnson. We really risked having him just plummet like Scott Hartnell. He has rebounded. Boone Jenner, of course, is the top-line center with Cam Atkinson, our leading goal scorer from last season in his final year. He was another player heavily affected. Second line, Matthew Tkachuk, right now up to an 83 overall. He is still on his entry-level deal. He will play with Alex Wenberg, another player who was in trouble, and Elias Lindholm, another player who was really in trouble. We're looking for a big year from Wenberg and Lindholm. Third line is Yuri Tolusti, the new signing. He is with William Karlsson, and Oliver Bjorkstrand is making the jump this year. And then the fourth line is the veteran Sean Bergenheim with Pierre-Luc Dubois and Jesse Puljujärvi. That's right, the pick Columbus made and the pick they should have made will be on the same line on the fourth line. And the defense, oh my God, the defense. David Savard, an 88 overall. That is not right. It is supposed to be, and I went best lines. That's what it's supposed to be. It is Elias Lindholm, 87 overall, with 90 overall Seth Jones, 86 overall Ryan Murray, with 88 overall David Savard, and an 83 overall Nick Holden. He has bounced back. Thank God the Wideman signing really helped. He took as big of a hit as anybody. He is with Dennis Wideman. I'm loving that defense. And then the goalie, it only gets better. Joonas Korpisalo up to an 87 overall at 23 years old. We got rid of Bobrovsky at the right time. Enroth is the backup. And Maximilian Faber is actually on the team right now as the cap space penalty. If anything, it's helpful. So this team is just looking so good, and it's all about potential. What will that second line do? What will the third line do? Carlson and Bjorkstrand in particular, and then Dubois and Puljujärvi. Now, there is someone missing. Dubois cannot be sent down to Cleveland. He can only be sent back to junior. So he is going to start on the NHL roster, but if he struggles, that's where Sonny Milano comes in. He is currently on the top line in Cleveland, and he's actually there too. Vitaly Abramov had to be sent back to junior, which kind of sucks because I really wanted him to be in Cleveland, but he's a year away from that. Milano is with Stenlund and Justin Fontaine. Chris Terry, Cody Hodgson, and Brad Boy is a veteran line that should help tear it up. Bittner, Jorish, and Mats Olsson, who we just drafted in the second round. And then Matt Mostelle, the 7th round pick, is with Chris Kelly and David Moss. The defense is once again Brad Stewart, who will probably be named captain once again. He is with Dylan Hetherington, although that is not correct either. God damn it, the best lines fuck it up every time. Allow me to do this properly as these lines should be, and that looks right about there. That looks all right. It is Brad Stewart with Cody Golubev, Dylan Hetherington with Mike Koska, Thor himself, and Gabriel Carlson is with Rasmus Anderson, the young pairing down there. So excited to see what they can do. They are our two best defensive prospects at the moment. Cale Fleury is a long way away. And of course the goaltending, it is the veteran Jonas Gustafsson with Oskar Dansk as the backup. We have plenty of depth as well. You saw the signings. So right now this team is looking like a well-oiled machine. We are technically a playoff hopeful. This team is built to compete over, after the first couple of years. We really need some good progression. If we could be a playoff team at the end of this, I would be ecstatic. But guys, that will do it for this episode. It has gone on long enough, that is for sure. But I am so happy with the result. I am so happy with this team and the way it's taken form. But if you guys have any suggestions, let me know. But I have a feeling most of you would agree with me that it's good the way it is right now, and let's see what happens. But in the next episode, we will play our first game in this franchise mode, and maybe our only. We will play the home opener. They are making us wait a very long time. We start off the year with a 6-game road trip. Our first home game is against the Philadelphia Flyers on October 27th. We will be playing that game. Cannot wait for it. And again, guys, thank you so much for watching. If you have enjoyed, make sure to hit that like button to help support my channel. It is greatly appreciated. And make sure to subscribe if you haven't already to continue following this series. I will see you guys next time. I am so fucking pumped for this series.